My name is Alicia, and this is the interview for my death portfolio. They've already gone through the presentation, so this interview is more of a discussion or reflection on it.
Hi, my name is Beatrice. I'm Alicia's best friend.
Hi, my name is Alan, and I'm Alicia's boyfriend.
Okay, so like I mentioned, they've already seen the presentation, so my first question is, what were your first thoughts reading my portfolio?
Going first reading the portfolio, I was seeing everything how she would want things to be dealt with, having her mom kind of run everything, having the final approval. It makes total sense. She has been with her mom for the majority of her life, and she knows her better than anybody. So I think that's really sweet, really nice. On top of everything else, where she was also wanting a certain memorial be done where she mixes both of her cultures. It's very nice, it's very beautiful, and I think that it reflects Alicia in the best ways. Now, in terms of bringing a lot of people together in her lives that are like best friends and everything, I think it's great. So that way, everybody will be able to kind of not only just reminisce but spend quality time together. Even if we didn't meet certain people from other places, we'd be able to meet them right then and there. She would connect us together on, from like different points of her life. It'd be really spectacular. So that's kind of what I took away, and it was very nice and inspiring to hear her just go out of her way to um, leave special messages. So if anybody else was dealing with something like this, then it would be a little bit more heartfelt.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything Alan has described. Just the, excuse me, the way my first thoughts were just kind of like, first of all, like, wow, this is very organized. Since I'm not taking the class myself, it made me reflective on, like, oh, this is, a good idea. This is a good steps, good things to have in place, especially after that, like, happening at such a young age. And so the way that she has everything laid out, I was like, it's very organized, very communicated very clearly, and very just cool. It was very cool.
Was there anything in the presentation, like maybe something I wanted for my memorial or certain instructions that surprised you?
To be honest, it is things that we've discussed before, just because we've gone into very deep conversations where even if it go to an extent as serious as this, I'm not completely surprised, to be honest. I think it's very beautiful what we've talked about before, even talking about it now. It really doesn't show any surprises.
Yeah, not surprising. Everything is kind of like what I would expect from Alicia. That just knowing the kind of person she is, personally. Yeah, basically, he's taken all my words of how I would feel about everything. Nothing was really surprising to me.
Was there anything, whether it was my philosophy of doing things or again just with basic instructions, was there anything that was unclear, or if you want to talk about maybe what was basic or easy to follow? Basically, how did you... Okay. In terms of the philosophy of some of my answers or the instructions, was there anything that was confusing? Like, if I were to pass away, let's say right now, would you be able to follow those instructions, or is there something you recommend adding or taking out?
Honestly, like I just said, to reiterate, one of my first thoughts was that it was very organized and very thorough, like looking throughout everything. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think anything was too confusing, honestly, or everything was pretty precise and very just laid out in a way that was very easy to understand and or interpret the way that you would want things.
No, to be honest, everything seems pretty straightforward. I think that's very important for something like this, and you don't want anything confusing whenever you have somebody that can be the one that is the ringleader to help organize everything if you were to pass away.
Because when I was doing this project, one of my challenges was You know, when it comes to my own death, I'm always thinking, like, let's say there isn't an afterlife. Who really cares, like, what happens after I die in terms of my memorial, in terms of, like, my gravestone? Yes, it would be nice to have certain things in place, but I was constantly thinking, like, well, I'm not going to be there to see it, you know? It'd be nice to have, like, a legacy, but especially if I'm dying this young and I don't have, like, kids to kind of have something to look up to, I'm always thinking, does it really matter? Like, how am I, like, yeah, it'd be nice to have a fun funeral, but again, if I'm not going to be there, whatever is easiest for the people planning it was kind of my priority as I was going through this. So I'm glad to know that it's not too confusing, because it's confusing for me. Let me see. Do you feel, so both of you were involved in my end of life plans in some ways. I referenced you at one point. Do you feel prepared for the role you'd play in my plan?
Honestly, right now, no. If you were to, sorry, excuse me, if something were to happen to you right now, I'd be like in shambles. It's hard to think about because you're such an integral part of my life that I would, realistically speaking, I know that I would be okay, but for a long time I wouldn't be okay. And so, but knowing the role that I play, I know I would have to be strong and to be strong for the people that are involved with you, especially, like, I'd be there for Alan and be like, yo man, it's gonna be okay, I know, but I know that he would probably struggle the most, with subsiding from your parents, losing you in that way.
Honestly, it'd be very difficult, only due to the fact that, one, as a man, I just hold a lot of emotional value for you. I cherish you in every way possible in my life, and even though that, let's say, the role of a boyfriend should be, it could be ranging from, like, bare minimum to the bare maximum, seeing us, like, being together for the rest of our lives. It just, for me, means the maximum. And so what I picture is a future. I don't just picture what's going to happen tomorrow. I picture everything. And if all of a sudden something comes in that changes that, which is the main part of that future, would be losing you, then I'm a strong person. I will face it publicly very fine. But I'm 100% sure if that were to happen, a lot of reflection will happen. A lot of maybe closed choice words would happen. Maybe I wouldn't speak as much, and I'm very much known to talk a lot, very outspoken. So it would take a lot in order for me to be able to move on from it. But I know eventually I will reach a point where I'd have to accept it. And even if I don't want to, I will, and will always cherish and remember you for everything, from, maybe even subjectively bad times to even the great times, because if anything, I think that's what makes a person great, right? The whole picture. So yeah.
Throughout my presentation, I talked about kind of appropriate ways to grieve during this time, and that I didn't really have a specific set of instructions. If you feel comfort in, like, laughing or making jokes at my funeral, that's okay with me. If you need to, like, bawl out, then, or what is that term, like, cry out, then that's okay too. But I'm curious, just for others to know, how would you want other people to support you if I were to pass away?
I would look for my support group. I would look towards my partner, and just relying on people that I am close to. Because getting on a personal note, whenever my father passed away, that's what got me through that. That's whenever the people that were closest to me in my life really shined through, where I cultivated amazing relationships, those who were close to me. showing me that it's okay to cry, it's okay to laugh, it's okay, it's okay to grieve. Yeah, everybody grieves differently. Everybody has a different process. There's no set, there's a general guideline, but there's no set rules for handling someone's death. And I think it's very important but one of the things I feel like it's very important for everybody to do is to rely on their support system.
Oh, exactly what Beatrice says. I think that is the way to go about it. I couldn't have put it in any better terms.
And there's no specific, like, people maybe you would want your family, like, if you had to tell the news, hey, my girlfriend died, how would you want to be supported?
It's just...
Do you want to be left alone? Like,
It's
like
very
that?
subjective because I'm someone who grew up in a family that is offers a huge supporting cast at all times. And there's a plethora of people in my immediate family, so I already know if it's, one person can't devote a certain amount of time to me, the other person is waiting in line, and they'll want to be there for me. So I'm very lucky to have that, but because of that too, I'm gonna have other moments where I want to be alone. Of course, I don't want to be probably asked a bunch of questions. I don't know, only because I haven't dealt with that situation. Maybe it's something different. What would happen would be completely different. Maybe I would need them if maybe I would be overbearingly needing them, or maybe I don't want them at all. I'm not 100% sure because thinking about something as serious as this with a person that I hold in high regard, it could go anyway.
I think that's a good point because you can't really prepare for things like that. Even me doing my own end of life plan, yeah, this is what I'm thinking now, but this could change, and this is something I'll probably update as we go. So that also correlates with how we grieve. You might, if I pass away right now, you might feel like, oh, okay, I want to isolate. But when it actually happens, you are going to seek support. So I guess it's good just for the record that there is no one way to deal with it. I'm going to end questions with what's something you learned about me from reading my portfolio? Is there something new that you learned?
I'll go ahead and let Beatrice answer this one first.
Yeah. I guess more and less I was aware of where like your religious aspects came in. I know we've talked about that a couple of times, but seeing the differing backgrounds that you came from, like being raised Puerto Rican Catholic, and then Japanese, was it Buddhism?
Shinto Buddhism.
Yeah. So it was very interesting to see how those come into how you view the afterlife, which is something I was kind of vaguely aware of, but now I'm able to understand it on a more deeper and personal level.
For me, it's mostly about peeking in a little bit more into the Shinto Buddhism. Mostly the slide showing the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
I had pictured something completely different. I think that's kind of nice to be able to go further in depth to knowing about you, about how it looks. I mean, because hearing one thing is very nice. It's very beautiful the way you put things. But being able to see also kind of paints a clearer picture. So it's really cool. And it's not something completely new, but it is something a little bit more clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't anticipate any dramatic changes to my portfolio, but obviously as I grow, I'll mature and possibly change the way I think about things. And, I kind of joked to myself when I was doing this that a lot of what I want is expensive. So maybe as I grow older, I'm not going to be so worried about having that mini public library on my tombstone. I still think it has a lot of sentimental value, but I know it's hard to put that kind of expectation on a grieving support system, especially because my circle is so small. Mainly it's going to be my mom and possibly my dad taking care of these things. So one final question. because that this is something that's gonna adapt, would you guys want to be like updated on it? Would you want some kind of like, are you comfortable having like access to this where it's updated in case something happens to me, basically? Because it is a lot. It's a huge responsibility. So maybe you only want to know certain information. Like, just let me know what you're thinking about that.
I feel pretty comfortable having this information, just knowing myself as a person, because I like to plan. I like organization, and I like to be in the know for things. I don't like uncertainty. So this is definitely something that I would want to be in the know for, and I actually find comfort in it.
Exactly what Beatrice said. I share that completely. I love planning, so it'd be cool to know as well. Just adding on what you said, mostly be your parents that are on top of that. To be honest, like I said, as somebody that's prides themselves on being very close to you, I'd hope you know that the mini library thing is actually a really cool idea. It's not something that I've thought about myself, honestly, and it's something that I would also like to contribute to because at the end of the day, I feel like that in a matter of time that we've spent together, I think that getting to know you by reading those books and adapting what I got to know about you and adding onto that would only share another whole layer of who is Alicia.
Okay, well, that's all my questions. Thank you for answering.